primary love, primary, before anything, is the love to be. That's the primary love. That's what's referred to as heart. The being, it's your primary love. You'll fight to stay alive for all you're worth. You know, if you were drowning, you'd be fighting to stay. It's the primary love, the love to be. Yeah. And that's not a conceptual kind of love. That's a direct experience. Yeah. And it's primary in all human beings. Just people don't realize that. Yeah. No, my primary love's my kids. No, my primary love's my girlfriend. Notice I didn't say wife.
Not very good.
By the time we're married, yep, the husband or the wife is, let me tell you, is not the primary love.
No.
We tolerate them, and sometimes we love them, and a lot of time we don't like them. Yeah, but that it's that same primary love that brings two people together when they fall in love. That'll be the terminology that gets used. Oh, I just fell in love with this person. It's that primary love that brings them together, if you like, because we can't choose to do that. We can't make that happen. You know, if we could, we'd be falling in love with someone new every day. Why? Because it feels great. But we can't do that. It's just something that arises, something that occurs. It's interesting that we don't even question that. Really interesting that, look, we don't even question that, even the dynamics of that. What's going on? You know, what happened to, where's free will now? Who's pulling the strings? I didn't choose to fall in love. It just happened.
Is it about hormones and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's more sexual drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is okay. That's, you know, it'll procreate. Otherwise, there'd be nobody here.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, you can have a couple of elderly people where their sex drive's long gone. They can still fall in love. Yeah. So, and I'm trying to get you guys to notice the being. Yeah. You know, sometimes I refer to it as, you know, now. But, you know, even using that terminology now is incorrect because it implies a past and a future. So again, you know, even when I say now, it's a pointer. You know, we've got to use I have to use dualistic language. I try to use it as skillfully as I possibly can, or it comes through as skillfully as it possibly can. But at the end of the day, it's still dualistic, the language. Yeah. If there's no such thing as a past and there's no such thing as a future, there can be no such thing as a now. Yeah. You know, often it's just referred to as is. Like, yeah. Primarily the love to be. Yeah. And we're so busy ignoring that and chasing after other things that we think we love to try and feel that love. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a real freedom in accepting what is.
Yeah.
And like the accepting what is often means the shoulds aren't hanging around, because the shoulds seem to be part of the mental furniture of obligation and law and custom and all that kind of stuff, which is overlaid on people. And you're guided by the shoulds of the shoulds that they exist, but just actually experiencing what is, which may not have anything to do with any of the shoulds, is kind of interesting. Also, interesting place.
Even we have to be careful with acceptance, Lloyd, because that sounds like somebody that's now in a state of just accepting. Yeah. There's no one that can accept or not accept. Yeah. Just at the end of the day, we just don't know. But we know it. There's a knowing of that. Yeah. It's, again, if we use dualistic language, it's nothing appearing as everything. Yeah. Because as soon as that non-dual, even saying it this way is incorrect, okay? But as soon as that non-dual is experienced, because now it sounds like a person's going to experience it, that's not what I'm implying. Yeah. But as soon as that is experienced, everything goes out the window. Everything goes out the window. Yeah.
Hence your statement about everything that can be said is a lie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or dishonest. Not true. Not true. Yeah. When I say dishonest, I'm referring more to the mind that creates this personal me and thinks it's a person and running around and is a doer, and that's dishonest. Yeah. Anything I can say about this is not true. Yeah. I'm just constantly trying to point to the truth. Because I'm using dualistic language, it can't be true. It ultimately can't be.
Yeah. Yeah. So your language is meant to point us to the silence, to the being, and yeah.
But there's no one here doing that. Yeah. And there's no one there that can receive it either or get it. And yet, something happens. Or you could say, which would be just as valid, nothing happens. Because that's what's happening. Nothing is happening. Nothing's not happening. When we start to get into this territory, the mind goes, what? What? What do you talk? What? Because mind's dualistic. How can you be and not be at the same time? Would be a fair question by a dualistic mind. How can you be and not be at the same time?
Mm.
Yeah. Even to say, in your direct experience, is wrong. That's a wrong thing to say. There's no one there that could have a direct experience. So again, it's a pointer. Yeah. And all that's pointing to is this. And it's all just happening. There's no person here doing anything. It appears to be, seems to be, but ultimately there's not. There's no one there. Yeah. That beats your heart, Lloyd, is also responsible for the thoughts that you're aware of. You know, and what that is, don't even go there. Because we'd conceptualize it. Yeah. We become dualistic again. Yeah. Yeah. It's mind that creates a dualistic, artificial reality. Only mind. Yeah. Only mind.
And has plenty of holes in it, by the way, the mind-created reality.
Yeah, it sure does.
There are a lot of, if you poke in certain places, there is nothing there. There is actually not even concepts. There's just a paper veneer of what actually might be there.
Yep.
There is actually, it's so artificial and it's so thin.
Yep.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge shift, isn't it? The knowing of that. That's a huge shift. You know, mind starts to lose its power at that point. Something else begins to be noticed, if you like. Again, I'm using words, but you know.
Maybe mind's protecting us.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, but there's no us that needs protecting.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be reasonable to say, dualistically, that would be reasonable to say. Yeah. Dualistically, yeah. You could just as much say, perhaps psychologists were designed to protect us. So we got someone to go to. You could say that too. Dualistically, you could say that. Yeah. It's the assumption that there's me and other. Me, a person. Other is also a person. The truth is, if you examine that, in your direct experience, you have no idea if another human being is a person. You have no idea. None. Mind says so. Can you experience their personhood or personage? Right, so that's an assumption right there, isn't it? A belief right there.
I can know there's consciousness throughout, and I can accept that consciousness lives in another human just like me, or like not a discrete me, but the apparent sea of perception. It's
Cool.
the one thing that is the constant.
Cool, but here's the problem with that. What's consciousness?
Blah, 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 blah.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? I mean, that's a fact. I don't want to be critical. That's a fair statement that you made. I'm just getting really pointy now.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So drop that. Anything that you don't know for a fact, Lloyd, drop it. Examine it. Like examine all this stuff that comes up for us. Yeah. It'll all arise as thoughts. Yeah. Examine it. Like, the truth is, you don't even know who you are, let alone assuming there's another person. Yeah. It's just mind it's all mind that's creating this seeming reality. And it's a complete, absolute illusion. Total illusion. You guys have heard me say before, like how do you get off the wheel of samsara? How do you get off that wheel? Because apparently, the theory goes through countless lives. Each time we come back, we're just that little bit better. And each time we just that, until eventually we come back for the last time. And in that last time, the theory goes, we become finally enlightened. Or it's sometimes referred to as we reach nirvana. Now, here's the funny thing about that. Yeah, let's assume that was all correct. It's not, but let's just assume for a moment that's all correct. Yeah. The last lifetime, what's realized is there is no wheel and there is no person on a wheel. There is no, birth and death and reincarnation and birth and death and it's a concept, pure absolute concept, again created by mind. It's great, Lloyd. Like, oh, my friend, everything is a concept.
It is.
Yeah. Even one's idea of what consciousness is, awareness is, even what being is. There's a concept about that. Yeah.
It's there to assist and help and encourage and all the best reasons in the world that it's there.
Yeah.
Like there are really great concepts that encourage people, and there are shitty concepts that don't encourage people.
Yeah. But again, there's no people to be encouraged.
Yeah.
But again, dualistically, what you said is valid. Yeah, it makes sense. Dualistically, it makes sense. Yeah. But ultimately, you come to see there is no person. There is no persons. Yeah. That's the true freedom. Yeah. Then there's what you're left with is just the again, I can only speak about it dualistically. What you're left with is the direct experience of being conscious, aware. Yeah. With no one that's conscious, no one that's aware, and no body that's being. Yeah. Thankfully, There's a knowing in all of that. There is a knowing in all of that. Yeah. It's not like you're going to kind of arrive in this place where you're stumbling around in the dark and don't know what to do. And there's nothing that can be said about what's happening outside of mind. And further, and there's nothing that needs to be said about what's happening outside of mind. Nothing.